Hi, this is Manpreet Kaur and you are watching me on Unacademy's YouTube channel. First of all, I would like to wish a very warm good evening to all my children and all my viewers. It's approx 9 o'clock. I can see some of you have joined. Hi Ria, hi Nimisha. A third voice there. Good evening children. If I'm not wrong, Athav Tripathi, you were there yesterday in the class, isn't it? What are we going to study today? We are going to study how the first letter was written. What is my name? I am Manpreet Kaur, as you can see on the screen. I have almost 16 years of experience in teaching and education field. I have worked with many of the renowned institutions as a teacher, vice principal and as a principal too. And what's my referral code? This is my referral code, Manpreet10. It is flashing on your screen. It's capital M, small a n p r, double e t 10. Now, let's begin with the topic, how the first letter was written. But before I begin, let me tell you children, I will try my level best to explain the chapter in this limited time period as far as possible. But 1 hour is not enough to explain the chapter and discuss the question answers at the same time. And therefore, I request you, please take up the Plus subscription of Unacademy so that you can be there in my class. Akshata is there. Hi Akshata, good evening child. Welcome to the class. How are you? Great to see you. So, let us begin how the first letter was written. Once upon an early time. So, first of all, let me tell you that the story is funny. The story is about Neolithic age when man used to live in a cage. That time, people used to wear very few clothes. They couldn't read, they couldn't write. And here the story is about Tegu Mai Bopuslai, and that means man who does not put his foot forward in a hurry. And Tegu Mai is the short name. And his wife, whose name was Teshu Mai, Te Windrow, and that means the lady who asked many questions. Akshata, grammar session is tomorrow. You have a grammar session with me tomorrow onwards, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the special classes. Yes. Thursday and Friday. Okay. So here we can say his name was Tegu Mai Bopuslai, and that means man who does not put his foot forward in a hurry. But we, oh best beloved, will call him Tegu Mai for short. And his wife's name was Teshu Mai Te Windrow, and that means lady who asked many questions. But we, oh best beloved, will call her Teshu Mai. Then there is a little girl whose daughter's name is, who is the daughter of this Tegu Mai, and her name is Chefi Mai Metal Mai, and that means small person without any manners who ought to be spanked. But we are going to call her Taffy, and she was Tegu Mai Bopuslai's best beloved and her own mummy's best beloved. And she was not spanked half as much as was good for her. And they were all three happy, staying together. So we have seen that there are three characters over here. Tegumai is the father, Teshumai is the mother, and Taffy is the small little girl over here who is acting as a daughter. Next, one day what happened, let us see. One day, Tegumai Bopuslai went down through the beaver swamp to the Vagai river to catch some fish for their dinner. The little sweet girl, Taffy, also went with her father. Tegumai was having a spear which was made of wood with a shark's teeth at the end. So generally we know that fishermen, if they are to catch fish, they use net. But here Tegumai was carrying a spear which was made of a shark's teeth and wooden handle. He was to catch a fish for their meal. And then what happened? Let us see. They were miles and miles away from the home, and Tegumai had forgotten to bring any extra spears. And accidentally, Tegumai has broken his spear. When they were about to catch the fish, suddenly Tegumai broke his spear, and that time they were very far from their home. "Here's a pretty kettle of fish," said Tegumai. "It will take me half the day to mend this." "There's your big black spear at home," said Taffy. "Let me run back to the cave and ask Mummy to give it to me." "It's too far for your young little fat legs," said Tegumai. "Besides, you might fall into Beaver Swamp." "Hi Shoaib, good evening child, welcome to the class." "And be drowned. We must make the best of a bad job." He sat down and took out a little leather mending bag full of reindeer sinews and strips of leather and lump of beeswax and resin, and began to mend the spear. Now we can see there is a problem over here. Tegumai, along with Taffy, went to river to catch some fish for their meal. But in turn, they have broken the spear, and now they are in problem. Taffy says, "Dad, father, I'll just go to the cave and get your black spear," which actually Tegumai has forgotten to bring. To this, Tegumai says, "Dad, the cave is too far and Taffy is too small to go. He is afraid that she will fall into Beaver Swamp and might be drowned also. And hence, he can't allow Taffy to go all alone. He says it would be better if he mends that spear." And thereby, he took out his leather bag. It seems as if there are some instruments in the leather bag with the help of which he is about to mend his broken spear. Now, Taffy sat down too, with her toes in the water and her chin in her hand, and thought very hard. Then she said, "I say, Daddy, it's an awful nuisance that you and I don't know how to write, isn't it? If we did, we could send a message for the newspaper." Just then a stranger man came along the river. He belonged to a far tribe, the Tivaras, and he did not understand one word of Tegumai's language. He stood on the bank and smiled at Taffy because he had a little girl daughter of his own at home. Tegumai drew a hank of deer sinews from his mendie bag and began to mend her spear. Now, see, now Taffy is sitting down because her father is mending the spear. Taffy is sitting down with her toes in the water and the chin in her hand. And she said that, Father, what if we would have been able to read and write? Very easily we would have sent the message for the newswire and we could have got one. But it's sad that we can't read or write. Just then a stranger man appeared, and this stranger man, he belonged to a far tribe, the Tevaras. He couldn't understand even a single word. The name of the chapter is How the First Letter Was Written from Kumar Bharti. I hope I am clear. As one of you is asking which chapter it is, so let me tell you that this chapter is from your English book Kumar Bharti, How the First Letter Was Written. The Tegumai chapter. So, just then, a stranger man appeared. He came along the river. He belonged to a far tribe, the Tevaras. He did not understand even one word of Tegumai's language. He stood on the bank and smiled at Taffy, because he was also having a little girl daughter of his own at home. Now Tegumai drew a hank of deer sinews from his that mendie bag and started repairing. Come here, said Taffy. Do you know where my mummy lives? And the stranger man said, Silly, said Taffy, and she stamped her foot because she saw a shoal of very big carp going up the river, just when her daddy couldn't use his spear. Don't bother, grown-ups, said Tegumai, so busy with his spear mending that he did not turn round. I aren't, said Taffy. I only want him to do what I want him to do, and he won't understand. So now, there is a stranger who is in the story, and he has started liking this small, sweet little girl, Taffy, because he was a father to a little girl daughter also. So somewhere maybe he is trying to see his own daughter in Taffy. Now Taffy stamping her feet, and she wants that this strange person, this Tevara, to go home and bring the black spear to her daddy so that her father can catch some fish for the meal. Whereas the father was still busy in mending the spear. Then don't bother me, said Tegumai, and he went on pulling and straining at the deer sinews with his mouth full of loose ends. The stranger man, a genuine Tevara he was, sat down on the grass, and Taffy showed him what her daddy was doing. The stranger man thought, that is very wonderful child. She stamps her foot at me, and she makes faces. She must be the daughter of that noble chief, who is so great that he won't take any notice of me. So he smiled more politely than ever. On the other hand, we see, then don't bother me, said Tegumai. So the father said that Taffy, don't bother me. I'm repairing the broken spear. And on the other hand, the Tevara, that strange person. So that stranger, who is a Tevara, he sat on the grass and thought that this little girl, Taffy, is a very wonderful child. She stamps her foot at him and makes faces. And she must be the daughter of some noble chief. Who is that noble chief over here? Tegumai. Why is that stranger person thinking that Tegumai is a noble chief? Because Tegumai is busy repairing his spear. And he did not notice even once the Tevara. That is why Tevara thought maybe Tegumai is a noble chief, and that is why he did not even notice him. Now, said Tefi, I want you to go to my mummy because your legs are longer than mine and you won't fall into beaver swamp, and ask for daddy's other spear, the one with the black handle that hangs over our fireplace. The stranger man thought, this is a very, very wonderful child. She waves her arms and she shouts at me, but I don't understand a word of what she says. So Taffy kept on saying, the Tevara, that you go to my mummy because you have got longer legs as compared to mine. And therefore, you won't fall into any beaver swamp. You won't get drowned also. Go to my mummy and get my daddy's black spear, which is hanging over the fireplace. On the other hand, the Tevara, he thought that Taffy is a very wonderful child. He thought that Taffy is waving her arms and she shouts at him, but he is unable to understand even a single word. But if I don't do what she wants, I greatly fear that the haughty chief man who turns his back on callers will be angry. He got up and twisted a big flat piece of bark of a birch tree and gave it to Taffy. He did this, best beloved, to show that his heart was as white as the birch bark and that he meant no harm, but Taffy did not quite understand. So we can see this is funny. Now this stranger, he couldn't understand what Taffy was saying, but he was afraid that if he doesn't listen to the child and doesn't do what she is saying, then maybe he get very angry, and maybe because see this strange man, the Tevara, he considered Tegumai as a chief. And why is that? Because Tegumai has turned his back towards him. It happens in our normal life also, isn't it? If somebody is at high designation, somebody with lot of power or post, great post, they sometimes become egoistic and they turn their back on us and they won't listen to us very easily. And we as a commoner would listen to them as if we won't listen to them, then they might get angry with us, which we really don't want to happen. The same thing is happening over here. Now here, the Tevara thought that Tegumai is some kind of chief. It seems that as if Tegumai is a chief and he will get angry if this Tevara won't listen to what Taffy is saying. So he just took out a birch bark. Birch bark is, what is a birch bark? It's a tree bark. He took just a small piece of bark of a tree and gave it to Taffy, just to make her sure that he means no harm to them. But Taffy did not understand it. And she said, "Oh," said she, "now I see. You want my mummy's living address? Of course I can write, but I can draw pictures. If I have anything sharp to scratch with, please lend me the shark's tooth of your necklace. The stranger man, and he was a Chivara, did not say anything, so Taffy put up her little hand and pulled at the beautiful bead and seed and shark tooth necklace round his neck. You can see on your screen there is a necklace and there is a shark tooth. So the Chivara was wearing this type of necklace. Taffy thought that Tevara has given the bark of the tree so that she can write the address on it and give it to him. And the Tevara can go to Taffy's mummy to get the sphere. But she said that she won't be able to read or write. But yes, if she gets some sharp object, then of course she can just scratch on it and draw some pictures, which will help the Tevara to find the living address of their cave. And hence, Taffy asked for the shark tooth which was in the necklace worn by the Tevara. Taffy just pulled up her little hand and took that shark tooth. The stranger man thought, "This is a very, very wonderful child. The shark's tooth on my necklace is magic shark's tooth, and I was always told that if anybody touched it without my leave, they would immediately swell up or burst. But this child doesn't swell up or burst, and that important chief, man who attends strictly to his business, who has not yet taken any notice of me at all, doesn't seem to be afraid that she will swell up or burst. I had better be more polite." Now here, the situation is turning to be humorous. That stranger man who is a Tevara, he thought that Taffy is a very wonderful child. Why? Because he was always said that the shark tooth which he is wearing is a magical one. And if someone touches that shark tooth without his permission, the person will swell up or will burst and die. But see, the Taffy is the one who has already taken that shark tooth, but nothing has happened to the girl. That is why maybe Taffy is magical too. She possesses some kind of power. And he also thought that maybe that man, means Tegumai, he is some kind of chief and he is not at all afraid that his daughter may swell up or burst. And therefore, he was more polite than before. So he gave Taffy the shark tooth and she lay down flat on her tummy with her legs in the air, like some people on the drawing room floor when they want to draw pictures, and she said, "Now I will draw you some beautiful pictures. You can now look over my shoulder, but you mustn't joggle. First, I will draw Daddy fishing. It isn't very like him, but Mummy will know because I have drawn his spear all broken. Well, now I will draw the other spear that he wants, the black-handled spear. It looks as if it was sticking in Daddy's back. But that's because the shark tooth slipped, and this piece of shark is not big enough. That's the spear I want you to fetch. So I will draw a picture of me, myself, explaining to you. Here, explaining means explaining. My hair doesn't stand up like I have drawn, but it's easier to draw that way. Now, I will draw the next. So here you can see, this is funny. Taffy. Now, Taffy has got the shark tooth. She is laying down flat with her tummy on the floor and the legs in the air, just like we do in drawing rooms. And she said, now I'm going to draw some beautiful pictures. So she said that she will draw some beautiful pictures which will help the Tevara to find her cave's address. And she said that she has drawn her father with the sphere broken. But it doesn't seem as if the sphere is broken. Rather, it seems that the sphere is sticking towards the back of his father. So it was like a spear sticking in daddy's back. It seems like Tegumai was hit by the spear instead. And then she drew one more spear. And she said that this is the spear which I need you to bring to us. The black spear with which we can catch our fish. She also drew herself. She said that now I am going to draw myself. But you see, I don't have hair like this, but still I am drawing this way because it's easier to draw like this. I think you were very nice really, but I can't make you pretty in the picture, so you must not be offended. Are you offended? The stranger man, Tevara, smiled. He thought there must be a big battle going to be fought somewhere, and this extraordinary child, who takes my magic shark tooth, but who does not swell up or burst, is telling me to call the great chief's tribe to help him. He is the great chief, or he would have noticed me. So, on the other hand, this conversation was going on between the two. Whatever Taffy said, the stranger man couldn't understand, and whatever stranger understood, Taffy was not saying that. On the other hand, stranger man thought that there will be a big battle soon, and this child, Taffy, wants me to call for help. She wants that I should go to her tribe people and get some help for them. And Taffy said that she has also drawn one man who is actually representing Tevara in the picture. But it doesn't look so nice as he really is, so he must not be offended. Look, said Taffy, drawing very hard and rather scratchily. Now, I have drawn you, and I have put the sphere that Daddy wants into your hand, just to remind you that you are to bring it. Now, I will show you how to find my mommy's living address. You go along till you come to 2 trees. Those are trees. And then you go over a hill. That's a hill. And then you come into a beaver swamp and full of beavers. I haven't put in all the beavers because I can't draw beavers. But I have drawn their heads. And that's all. You will see all of them. When you cross the swamp, mind you, don't fall in. Then our cave is just beyond the beaver swamp. It is not as high as the hilly really. But I can draw things very small. That's my mummy outside. She is beautiful. She is the most beautifulest mummy there ever was. But she won't be offended when she sees I have drawn her plain. She will be pleased of me because I can draw. Now, in case you forget, I have drawn the spear that Daddy wants outside her cave. It's inside really. But you show the picture to my mommy and she will give it to you. I have made her holding up her hands because I know she will be so pleased to see you. Isn't it a beautiful picture? And do you quite understand, or shall I explain again? And here, what did Taffy do? Now Taffy said that she has drawn as far as possible by scratching on that piece of bark, bit's bark, that is tree's bark. And she said that she has drawn the Tevara also, who is holding a spear in his hand, just to remind him that he is supposed to get that black spear in order to help them. And She couldn't draw beaver swamp. She will not be able to draw beavers, but she has managed to draw their heads. And she also warned Tevara that when he is crossing the beaver swamp, he must take care and he should not fall into the swamp. She said that her cave is just beyond the beaver swamp, and it is not as high as the hills, as it is shown in the picture, but as Taffy is a sweet little girl and she will not be able to draw very small things, so she had just managed to draw anyhow. She has drawn one lady outside the cave who is actually very beautiful. The lady is Taffy's mother, Teshumai. She is beautiful, but she won't be offended by seeing this picture because she will be happy to know that at least her daughter would have managed to draw the picture. And after drawing all this, she said to Tevara, "Have you really understood, or should I be explaining you again?" Now, the stranger man, the Tevara, he looked at the picture and nodded his head. Nodded means like sir hilana. And he said to himself that if I don't go and get for the help, then certainly this little girl and that Hafti chief tribe will be in problem. Some enemies are coming with the spears, and that is why Tegumai has not taken any notice of me, because he might be afraid that the enemies are hiding somewhere in the bushes, and that is why he has let the small child explain all the things. And if I don't get the help, then these two will be killed. Hence, I should go and get some help. You can see on your screen a small picture. This was the picture made by Taffy. And now, this is the picture that Taffy had drawn for him. What have you been doing, Taffy? Said Tegumai. He had mended his spear and was carefully waving it to and fro. Now you see, the Tevara, he is mistaken and he thought that he should be helping two of them, and that is why he took the picture and just ran off like anything from there, just to get the help. On the other hand, Tegumai, he has already repaired his spear, and he asked Taffy, what is she doing? And he has already repaired the spear. Taffy said, it's a little bee arrangement of my own, Daddy, dear, said Taffy. If you won't ask me any question, you will know all about it in a little time, and you will be surprised. You don't know how surprised you will be, Daddy. Promise, you will be surprised. Very well, said Tegumai, and went on fishing. So Taffy said that, Daddy, I have made some small arrangement of my own. You better not ask me now, because you will come to know about everything in a very short period of time. And you will be surprised to know what arrangements did I make. So Tegumai said, very well, and he kept on fishing. On the other hand, the stranger man, did you know he was a Tevara, hurried away with the picture and ran for some miles, till quite by accident he found Teshumai Tevinjo at the door of a cave, talking to some other Neolithic ladies who had come into a primitive lunch. Taffy was very much like Teshumai, especially the upper part of the face and the eyes. So the stranger man always appeared Tevara, smiled politely, and handed Teshumai the pitch bag. He had run hard, so that he fainted, and his legs were scratched with brambles, but he still tried to be polite. As soon as Teshumai saw the picture, she screamed like anything and flew at the stranger man. The other Neolithic ladies at once knocked him down and sat on him in a long line of six, while Tesumai pulled his hair. It's a plain as the nose on her stranger man's face. She said, "He has struck my Tegumai all full of spears, and frightened poor Tefi, so that her hair stands all on end. And not content with that, he brings me a horrid picture of how it looks." So, the stranger man, he just ran like anything and he managed to reach Taffy's cave. And he saw Teshumai Tevinjo at the door of her cave. He could very easily recognize Teshumai Tevinjo because many of the facial features of Teshumai and Taffy were matching, especially the upper part of the face and the eyes. There were other Neolithic ladies who were there for a primitive lunch. Tevara smiled politely and handed over that note, that bitch bark, to Teshumai. He has run very hard, and that is why he was painting. The legs were scratched with the brambles, but still he managed to be polite. And you know what happened? As soon as Teshumai saw the picture, she just screamed like anything. She flew at the stranger man and the other Neolithic ladies also. They knocked him down together. They all sat on him, whereas Teshumai was pulling his hair. And she said, "Look, this person. He has struck Tegumai with his spears. My poor little daughter is frightened, and that is why her hair are all standing like an end. And still, he is so horrible man that he has managed to get this picture." She showed the picture to all the Neolithic ladies sitting patiently on the stranger man. "Here is my Tegumai with his arm broken. Here is a spear sticking into his back. Here is a man with a spear ready to throw. Here is another man throwing a spear from a cave. And here are a whole pack of people. They were Taffy's beaver really, but they did look rather like people coming up behind Tegumai. Isn't it shocking?" So, Teshumai said to the other Neolithic ladies that this man has hit my Tegumai. Look, Tegumai's arm is broken and there is a spear sticking into his back. There is one more man who is ready with the spear and he is ready to throw. One another man who is throwing a spear from a cave. And there are a whole pack of people who are ready to attack Tegumai and poor Taffy. And you know who were those people? They were not exactly the people. They were the beaver's head which Taffy has drawn. But they didn't look like beaver head. Rather, they looked like people head. And this was shocking. With this, the story comes to an end. And here we see a funny ending to this story. The strange man, the stranger person, this Tevara, he has tried hard to help Tegumai and Taffy, but he has misunderstood the whole story. And without understanding, he got the bitch bark to Teshumai, and ultimately he was knocked down. Now, let me tell you, with this, we have come to an end of the chapter, and I hope you have enjoyed the chapter and you would have understood everything. Who is this? Archemistry. Good evening, child. Let me tell you the steps to join the quiz. Children, as you can see that we have completed the chapter, but it will not be possible for me to discuss all the important question answers related to the chapter. And that is why it is always advised to you that please take up the Plus subscriptions. Once you take up the Plus subscription, you will be there with me in my Plus classes, where I will be able to understand you, make you understand every inch of the chapter, as well as discuss all the question answers. To do this, first of all, you have to download Unacademy Learners app from the Google Play Store or any app store which you have. You can also join the quizzes once you take up the Plus subscription. The steps are displayed on your screen. You can use my code Manpreet10 to get 10% discount, and you will also be able to unlock the free special classes. I take English, language and literature for both standard 9 and 10. You can watch me teaching on Unacademy every day from 2:30 to 3:30 and 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Besides this, I also take up grammar classes, which is night 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Monday, Tuesday and Thursday, Friday. You can unlock the special classes using my code Manpreet10. You can download the Unacademy Learners app to participate in the quiz. And in case, if ever you need a code, do not forget to use Manpreet10. And now the rate chart. If ever you made your mind to take up the Plus subscription, let me tell you, for 1 month, it will cost you 2,500. For 3 months, it will be 6,500. Monthly cost will be lowered to 2,167. For 6 months, it will cost you 1,667 and overall cost rupees 10,000. For 12 months, it is 1,250 per month and the overall cost will be 15,000, whereas for 24 months, it will be 1,042 per month and the overall cost will be 25,000. If you go for 6 month, 12 month or 24 month, you can also have no cost EMI. Besides this, when you use the code Manpreet10, you will again get a discount of 10% and this rate chart will be further lowered by 10%. So what are you waiting for? I think this is the best time when you should download the Unacademy Learner app and get started with us. With this, we have come to an end. But I will be back very soon with a new chapter, with a new story for you. Till then, keep smiling and thank you for watching. Bye.